What's up, everybody? My name is Jimmy. Currently, I'm coaching 2 elementary teams and a middle school team, and it's awesome. So I am in that zone, but I've also coached high school and college and beyond. So I love also thinking about where it can go, and if there are any levels that you want to dig a little deeper in, let's do it. Let's do it today. All right. I wanted to say that I remember being in middle school. I learned in middle school playing 30 years ago, and we had some coaches. Joe Vizignano from the Northwest, he's probably retired, and Mary Lowry at CDS, now retired, still coaching. And they were the ones feeding us knowledge. We were so hungry to learn, we wanted some of the advanced stuff. And so it was them, just meeting on a field on a Saturday morning. And then they would sneak us as middle schoolers, 8th graders, into their adult league games, because there was no youth league really at that time. And then when we got to high school and we could drive around, we would just drive to wherever Sockeye was playing and just watch. And that's just the only way we could have gotten some of this advanced knowledge. So it is so cool that the sport has grown, but a big part of that is you guys taking your time out of your Sunday, this kind of collective learning to deliver that. Because there's some hungry players, passionate players right now, and I see so many people going back to those players and raising them up. So thank you guys. It's super awesome to see that. Hey, let's start off with the game. So we're gonna have everybody stand up. It's not gonna be intense. It's not gonna be intense. And it's really it's gonna be kind of a game of tag, last person standing. And I hope whoever manages this is okay. I don't foresee a lot of damage. The people who are going to be it, you don't know who you are, but I know who you are. You are wearing teal today. You're wearing teal today. And thank you for wearing teal, because we needed some people to be teal taggers today. So in a moment when we say go, people who are wearing teal, you're going to be tagging. And everyone else, you got to be the last person standing. We have amazing prizes for that person. So take 5 more seconds to look around. 4. And I got to pause everyone there, because we actually aren't going to play. We're not going to play, and I didn't have a prize. Really, we're not playing because I don't have that prize. Do we have anything? Do we have anything? We don't have anything. I don't have anything. But the point of that was this. There were some people in this room who were ready to play and participate and get away from the teal. So we had teal right here, right? Teal right there, and we had teal right there. While we're not going to play the game, that's going to be the lead-in to our session today, which is movement, right? And how do we move? How do we move in a smart way? How do we move in an efficient way? We can sit down now, unless you guys maybe want to sit down. We could. But here's the thing. Maybe that's how we hook the kids or the adults or anyone to begin thinking about that, right? Because we saw where we didn't want to go, and we saw where we could go that was better than getting there. We want to be the last person standing. So I imagine everyone here was just scouting the space, seeing where the teal was, and getting ready to move. So today's session is we lost. Is going to be about initial movement, about movement, and the first move on offense to get yourself open. Because the way to score is we have to get open, we have to get the disc. So getting open is a very important part of offensive thinking. This right here is a QR code. that you can scan down, because we'll go back to sleep and we're not really going to use the screen. You can go, I think, phone. It's a Google Doc link. So if you get on the phone, maybe you'll have Google Doc accessible. I don't need you to download it. If you have a computer, that might be or an iPad, that could be nice to tap into. Okay, so those are going to be the two the games and drills that we're going to reference today. All right. Okay, so we often give a lot of our players a structure to move in. Raise your hand if you kind of go with a vertical stack with your group or your team in a vertical stack, which is a fantastic structure. Anybody horizontal? And anyone different from both of those as well? It's always evolving. It's always evolving. You're hearing the word hex. You're hearing the word spread. You're seeing a vertical stacks on the sides of the field, right? So we give our players a structure to move in, and when players are ready, and I'm envisioning middle school and high school, but we could have some advanced elementary players, and then beyond for sure, who want to have some freedom in the structure, and we want to give that freedom in the structure, some autonomy and freedom. So we want our players to get open. We give them a structure, and then we want to give them a little bit of freedom. So oftentimes, in a vertical stack, you'll say, hey, here are the two spaces to cut in, and maybe you take 4 steps out, and then you take a step in, right? And in a horizontal stack, maybe the first movement is you got to get across to a side and clear a space. And so the more that these players begin to do that, they start stepping away from the freedom, right? They go to a more rules-based type of movement. I have to take 2 steps this way or 2 steps this way to get over to this point. And the more you condition that type of thinking, the more they're going to begin to lose sight of how much autonomy they have within the structure. So one thing I'd like to do is build some language right off the bat with players, even at the youngest age, which is, what are they giving you? Right? What are they giving you? That's the language I like to use. So I would love, Peter, do you mind standing up? Peter is going to be a defender. I'm going to be the person trying to get open, and I'm just going to give you 5 seconds for you to just set up anywhere you want. Would you like to know where I'd like to know where the disc is? Yeah, where the mark. So we'll say the disc is here, and we'll say that's where I'm trying to score. Okay. And we can say that the laptop is the mark. The laptop is the mark. Meaning on this side. Okay. Is that okay? Okay, is that okay? And you just, are you front step, back step, or? No, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'll be toward the front of the set. Okay. I mean, relatively rude. So, thank you for jumping straight. Okay. Really, what we're gonna ask together is, what's Peter giving you? Like, could you just point to where? And what's Peter not giving you? Yeah. So it is such an automatic kind of awareness, but when you have kids who want to do their best for a team and who listen so well to you, they're thinking right now about rules. I need to be the second cut, and I need to take 2 steps this way and then cut into that space. They're losing sight of what's spoken, right? Thank you, my friend. So if Peter's there, I want to know what structure we're in. I want to know maybe when I cut, and I want to know ideally where can I help the team, but I also need to be aware of what's open for me, right? And everyone's going to have that different opening. So, so building that language of, hey, what are they giving you? What's open right now? And oftentimes it's just like that game of tag. It's away from that teal tag. Peter's here. I'm going that way. I'm going that way, and maybe I can make my way over to the space that my team needs me to make. But I don't know if I want to go toward the tagger or toward this defender, and I want to fight with this defender for this space, right? So building in the language so that you can build the awareness of what's open is a great start for helping kids have that autonomy for movement. So if you were able to click on that QR code, one of the drills that you'll see, or one of the games, it's a game called Corners. You might not be able to see it clearly, and this is not to scale, but that's okay, because I think that many of us are visual, and many of us are eager to experiment with some games and experiences that can help kids just intuit open space. And so I just wanted to share our first game called Corners. So in Corners, there will be someone who is the thrower. Any volunteers? We're not going to go crazy here. We're not going crazy. All right, yeah. And there are going to be 2 people, and we're going to get some volunteers in a moment, in this space right here. And the purpose of Corners is, the objective of the game is for Alyssa to get the disc to someone who's catching at 2 of the corners. It's small, it's cramped, it's nothing like an ultimate field, there's no other players, just you and another person, and you get 10 seconds. And there are additional rules that are on that document, but we can begin to see what are the thought processes going through players' minds when they step into a space like this. Do we want to invite? Let's invite you. We're going to be, so the game is walking only, so we can't cause damage. We're walking only. The game is a walking only game. I'll volunteer. Yeah, you were ready to shut down. You were ready to lock down, shut down. So, Alyssa will, in a moment, signal disc in. And I can start anywhere I want, and Peter can start anywhere he wants. And oftentimes in this game, and you don't see a lot of players trying to actually, middle schoolers, they'll try and find all the loopholes, right? But sometimes they'll just be ready to go. Okay, so in a moment, and we don't have too much space, but I'm seeing where Peter is, and I am going to go to that corner right there. I have a lot of confidence in Alyssa, and when she taps it in, I'm just going to be moving and hope for disc at this corner. Okay, when you get a disc at a corner, it's a free throw back. Any disc that is blocked, caught by Peter, or stalled at 10, it's over. Right? So the stall is still going right now. Probably stall 5, 6. I'm looking at Peter. I'm going here, then I need to go. And then I can't go here. Nice. Okay, I gotta start working. All right, so let's do it. All right. Yeah. Hey, nice. So we're really confined by space, and there's no mark on Alyssa. But what I had to do in 10 seconds was, I knew some destinations that I was trying to work toward, but I had a lot of freedom, and I had to really be responding to a defender, right? So, Peter, you stood in a position for most of that, and you gave me certain things, and I just need to recognize that, have confidence in Alyssa, and go towards those open spaces to get the disc, right? If I had tried to fight you, I'm making life harder for myself. Any questions about corners? Yeah.
So when you're running this with middle schoolers, would it be entirely player-led, or would you have a coach, for example, be the one throwing it? Or how would you personally go about this?
Love that, love that. So this game was literally created a week ago to work on movement. I'm working with a group of middle school girls right now. They are super hardworking and focused. They're very rules-based. A big part of that is this anxiety about making a mistake, right? So there's that piece too, right? So building that autonomy and the confidence and the flexibility, super important. So we designed this game for them to play so that it's really like do whatever you want to just get the job done. But then we always debrief. So to go back to your question, we do have the players play. So you buddy up with someone because then you get to really get into the nitty-gritty of like, if you make the person look up right here, just look up and make them look up, and then slide it in. They come up with awesome. Let's break all the no rules, right? No rules, right? So no coaches. No coaches. They're playing. There is actually a line normally that we build with cones. You see it in the pictures, like you can kind of see it in the pictures. There's a line because there is going to be a mark on Alyssa, but the mark is right here, right? The mark is here. They cannot go past this line. Alyssa's right here, and they're trying to get work here. The other purpose of this game was we found a lot of middle school players who do not like to take the dump. And that's because, and listen, you were talking about this earlier, you'll learn a structure early on, and that is the only one in your mind, right? So if we're going this way, the dish should never go that way. Why would I ever turn around? Why would I ever, think about losing yardage? So, not only what is the defense giving you, but you gotta break the mindset of where's the right place for this to go, right? Where's the right place for this to go? So we needed throwers to start looking this way. They would not do it. So the mark is really here. And then we needed them to turn here. And then we needed people to begin saying, hey, there's no rules right now, but we need you to get at this. So start to feel the defense, start to feel the space, right? Start to feel it. It's a confined space. So you can't use your athleticism all the time to just get open, right? You have to really think about a game of inches. If my thrower and I have a great chemistry and I just have my arms extended and Peter's right here, he's not stopping it. He's not stopping that 9 out of 10 times, right? If Peter sees me do this and he wants to neutralize that, well, Peter, thank you, you just gave me this, right? I'm not going to fight against that, right? So there were some rules on that document. And hey, take it and just make it a good game, because right now it's like a new game, it's not a good game yet. But what you begin to see, this was really cool today, what you begin to see is the thrower is also beginning to ask herself, what are they giving me, right? So when the mark is here, the thrower begins to start seeing, hey, if I do this, I'm not getting very much. If I do this, I'm giving a lot. I'm giving a lot, right? So it plays into the right direction for the disc to go, right? So even a thrower can say, what are they giving me? Okay, this is wide open, right? This is wide open. And what was the coolest thing was we had a marker. He looked like a pretty tall, long guy. He stands up right here. There was a marker who would see this line. This is your marking line right here. So you can't go this way. You have to be behind here. But I bet you got long arms, and I bet see? So even when Kevin, even when Kevin is restricted, Kevin still can do. So we had a thrower today who, and this did not break the rules, although everyone was like, you're breaking the rules. I said, there are no rules. This game was made up like 4 days ago, right? Throw went like this. Throw went like this. What are they giving? Kevin's giving me all this. So now Kevin actually can't take away anything, right? And so you can play with space like that, right? So building that appreciate that. Building the mindset of where's the defense? They're always giving me something. So use that to your advantage, right? So as a thrower, they're back there, use this. Peter's standing right here, I'm gonna use this. And I feel like that's accessible for even like an 8-year-old, right? Who loves tag, plays a lot of tag, knows how to get away, right? So they begin, I tell them as an elementary coach, get away from that person first, and then maybe like this space right here is kind of nice for us to move the disc into and get away from that person. Any questions on that? Again, I'm looking through the lens of elementary middle, but we can go there with that. I love it. Okay, corners, please. I don't know if you can edit that down. I made it so you guys can like write comments and say this game needs this, or like just change all the rules up, and I'll credit you for it. Okay. Number two. So now we're starting to move up, right? From elementary and middle to you're playing against maybe some defenders who are giving you something, but they're smarter or they're super athletic. So even if Peter's giving me that space, he's ready. He knows. He's like, I am giving it to you. Why don't you go take it? And then I'm going to come and I'm going to do something crazy. So we have to not just assume if they're giving us something, it's always going to be open. So the question number 2 is, how do I create even more separation? Right? How do I create even more separation? That's language I like to use for 8th and beyond, because they've had a foundation of a structure, and they're really ready to think about some of that nitty-gritty. Okay, so I have written down a couple things that players can hear you offer, and they have to experiment. This is all experimentation, because everyone's body, which is what this was talking about, speed, their timing, it's all different. So everyone has to build their own, toolbox of creating separation. This is moving on to the second. This one's less of a game, it's more of a drill. It's called the box of D. Has been called the box of death, but death might be kind of dark for some of these teams. So box of D, box of death. And this is often run by a lot of high-level teams. But tried it with middle school, they loved it. And they're starting to pick up on it. Right? So in the box of death, maybe we can move over to the whiteboard. You have a box. No dying in this 15 by 30 rower right there. It's 1v1. And the focus on this one is creating some separation. The rule is you pick one of the sides, so it can either be this side, or maybe this side. And the offensive player has to start on this line, right? Or maybe this one. The defensive player has to start in the box, anywhere. So already, the way it's structured, you're prompting that freedom. You're not saying, there are some rules, obviously, but you're not saying I need to start here or I need to start here. So you can begin to offer that. And then you can also tailor this depending on, do you want people to imagine a vert stack? Do you want people to imagine a horizontal stack, right? So players know what their own team structure is and they can see how to work within that. Okay, so offense is going to be positioned somewhere here and defense somewhere in the box. So we're going to ask for 2 volunteers. And I'm sorry, I love not showing that there's one right way or wrong way. I'd love someone to just draw where the offense starts. And I don't actually know if there's a right answer, but you just have to draw an X somewhere here. And then I'd love someone else to draw where the defense starts, and they just have to draw an X in there. Please help me. Yes, thank you. You got me? Yeah. Offense or defense? Offense? Yeah, let's go vote. It has to be on the line. On the line. X or X, yes. X. So that is the offense. All right, D. Yes, thank you. And I would love, hold on, before we do anything, I'd love for you in your mind, where would you do it? So give them like 5 seconds. You're going to give them the answer, the right answer. But let's give 5 seconds. Where? Oh, yeah, let's start with that. There is a mark. Remember you asked them, where's the mark? Mark. Offense there. Okay. Great, I love that X. Because we know offense is starting on line, defense starting in the box. Okay, raise your hand if you were somewhat close to Kevin's defensive positioning. Raise your hand if you were not even in the same half. And that's okay, I don't think, is there a way? Okay, so here's the thing, here's what we're noticing. Smart defenders are playing their freedom game, their autonomy game, saying, well, I get to be wherever I want, but I am going to start in this position. Can I ask why you put the defender there? I have some guesses, but yeah.
I'm assuming there's no hammers in this game.
No hammers in this game.
So it allows you to cover the inside break shot. And
so any throw kind of around here, you're close to.
You're close enough to cut it off. And most of the, or many times, somebody on offense is probably for the deep spaces you're getting into. It gives you more time to catch up to.
So if this person decides to leave, you have time to catch up. You're a great athlete, you're going to catch up. And that throw, can we say it's a hard throw?
It's got to be fully close to the
Yeah, it's
line.
going to be a hard throw. So you're saying this is going to be hard out here. The mark is making this a little hard right here. So really, you're zoned in, locked down for this. And a lot of people agree with you. And I think a lot of defenders anywhere, middle school, high school, and beyond, elementary, they might think that too. So how do we create separation? Because we have a very smart defender who's working with some help here too. Yeah, I would say this part of the field is really hard to throw to. That mark is taking away a lot. This part of the field is really hard to throw to because that's far. Maybe windy, maybe rainy. Right. All right. So, offense. Any ideas? How do we get open? How do we create some space? Any ideas? You can't just run away from this person this way, even though we just taught you that, because that's a hard throw too. That's a hard throw too, right? Okay. Well, I will give you, I'd love to throw out a couple ideas. The first thing I like to offer some players is don't just stand in one space. Because when you stand in one space, that person stands in one space, and you're kind of committed, both of you together, to make a certain move where that person's smart and is likely going to make life hard. So I actually like to tell this person. So we do, so here's the drill is this. You get 10 seconds, you try and enter the box, you try and get the disc. This is usually coach in the beginning. Someone asked, is the coach? Yeah. I like the coaches early on because if we just do everything, hammers, crazy stuff, you build that habit. So the coach can be super picky. That's me, I'm really picky. I really am actually. So unless this person is wide open, I'm not throwing it. I'm not throwing it. So this person gets 5 seconds. They get stalled to 5 in the box of D to get open, and I'm going to give it to this player if they have 2 steps. Now, if you got this amount of space from Kevin, I'll probably give that to you. If Kevin is right here, I don't love that. I don't love that. Right? So I'm really looking for 2 steps. So you know if this person comes and gets it 2 steps away here, I like that. They can get it 2 steps over here, I like that. I'll pay that one off too. Okay, so those are some of the rules of the actual game. You pay the player off 2 steps, but if they're not open in 5 seconds, you just say, nice D. Slap in. Nice D. Good D. Right? And they say that. And then you get back in line, and you give them another chance, and they have to think. They have to, there's no rules. So they'll just keep trying, and then they'll get to the point where their mind opens and say like, okay, I'd love a couple of suggestions. Suggestion number 1, first, try all different places to start, right? Try all different places here, and don't just stand there. Because if you stand here, this person knows what to do. But if you start moving, this person might say, whoa, where are you going? I'll go too. You come over here, do you know something I know? Well, I'm coming down here just in case, right? This person starts to move. Right? So when we talk about separation, sometimes we get taught this rule early on of stand in a stack. Stand in the vert stack. Stand in the horizontal stack. Don't move until the disc gets 3, 2, 1 tapped in. Now you gotta go. Defender kind of already has a good position on you. You got 5 seconds, so good luck. They're playing this box of D game every single point, right? What I like to do is give a little permission that is not necessarily game realistic, but I say, hey, from here to here, just you can move wherever you want. And so you begin to see players like just sprint. They start here, and you hear 3, 2, and they start sprinting, head down, sprinting, and you see this defender saying, what is going on? I'm sprinting too, and then this person says, bye-bye. So they're going, the defender's going, and then going, the defender's going, and then you turn. The defender, I mean, our brains take about a second to respond. They're responding to us. So when we go this way and they're responding, you have this move, and they take a second. Maybe you got your 2 steps that way, right? So don't feel locked into a starting position. Maybe the person will experience experimentation. You got to know your body. You got to know your timing. You got to know, what you're comfortable with. You sprint down here. The defender's like, hey, I'm always going to be in front of this person. Deep throw, I'm not scared of it. So the defender beats you there, and then you go there, right? So what that introduces to a cutter is, if you stand, there probably is a best place to defend you. But if you're moving, that best place just changed. You're changing it. And unless, Kevin could stay right here. He could say, this is the best place to defend Jimmy. Is it the best place now? Is it the best place now? No. So unless he wants to move with me, I have created myself some separation right off the bat. And if you start moving, he's responding to me. He's responding to me, and I can change and get some separation because you are responding to me, and I've just taken you out of the best place to guard. Right? The other thing that's happening is when I start walking this way and Kevin starts walking this way, he forgot where the disc is. He forgot where the disc is. He forgot what the count is because he is watching his cutter start to do some, random stuff, and you lost a lot of sense of what your job, what your awarenesses need to be, right? So in the box of D, we give this line and we offer up that freedom so that players can begin, and they'll do little funny things. They'll hop, they'll come up with little moves. Now, is that what they're going to do in a game? maybe. But what they can know is that I can find a better spot for myself and take you out of your best spot if I just move a little bit. And we'll see what you decide. Okay? For high school, college, club players, you'll see a lot of defenders in a spirited way kind of cross that boundary of this sport is no contact, right? So you'll see them start to walk up close, they'll even do a little lean. Is this okay? I just want to, is it okay? Be right up there, making some contact. And they like to be super close. And if you stand there and you're letting them kind of dictate and push, well, yeah, the opening's that way, but you don't even look comfortable going into the opening. So, movement, move. They're leaning on you, judo, come back to where you started, but they don't get to touch you anymore, right? And they are off their game. They're off their game. So a little bit of movement, okay? So, this slide allows for that, and I'll personally say, as a cutter, in any of these offenses, you may delete this from the film if I'm taking bad habits, okay? But I like to push the boundaries of where I move. I like to push the boundaries. If I'm one of these players, I'm going to start moving, and this person's looking like that. But I'll just move a little bit. I'm just moving a little just to get them off me. But I like to move a little bit because they stop looking at the disc 3, 2, 1 disc in. They're not paying attention, and then you can start to create some movement, right? So movement. All right, I probably said that too much. Next, I think that a defender is not going to be able to chase you, block you, hound you, to lock you down if they are standing like this, right? Can you imagine if you're in a game of tag, you're the tagger, and you're like this? You're trying to keep yourself just standing, right? So weight is another huge part, I think, of creating separation. If you can ever get someone to be going like this, I think you can do whatever you want. I think you can do whatever you want at that point, right? So, what we offer after this person has tried a lot, I can't seem to get over. Okay, we'll try to move a little bit. Give this person that position. They're moving. Hey, this is okay. But now they're used to the movement. They know exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, what else can we try? Get this person to be in from this ready position. It's a great ready position to this position, right? Can't do anything in that position. So how do you get someone to go in that position? Run right at that person. Run right at that person. You're not violating any of the rules of the game. You're not making contact. I would say that if someone does say, like, when you do that, it's super uncomfortable, you have a conversation. Have a conversation about that, about safety, emotional safety as well. It's super important for our young players to respect space, respect that emotional safety. But if I go right at Kevin, you're not probably gonna be in defensive position. You're going to, who knows exactly how you're gonna respond. But if I come right at you and I know I'm stopping, if I just sense that you're on your heels, then I am leaving in this space, creating that separation, right? So and again, when I teach this to elementary, I'm gonna say, I don't think so. I think body control is super important for a suggestion like this. There's gonna be an elementary school who literally just runs straight into that person. Not safe, not a good habit. Maybe even in middle school. In middle school, you need to just have that lack of body control. But at a certain point, when a player has that body control, it goes against what are you giving me? You're giving me this. I just don't want to go there, or I feel like you can chase me. So I'm going to come, and then I'm going to leave. And I'm going to see if that did make your weight shift. Okay? So weight weight is something that makes this person super great at his or her, their job. And if you can just get that person to be a little bit imbalanced, a little bit unsteady, you can begin to really increase your separation. Yeah, one thing I like to do with players is I just like to have players stand, and they already know what they're in for. You're gonna have someone run right at you and see what it feels like. And there are very few and far between players who there's someone coming right at me, and then they turn and you're just ready to go, right? They're coming and your body just begins to tense up and even almost lock down your feet. Coming. So, it's a human reaction to not like want to go and butt heads with somebody, right? So, we do some playful things, just charge and stop and turn and see how did that person react? How did it feel? We want everyone to feel that. Safe, very safe, super safe, super safe. Any questions about a player who starts moving around a little bit before they move, or messing with the weight?
Question, like the concept of unsettling like your defender by moving makes a lot of sense. I'm curious if it's real how you actually build that in. So it's like often everyone says like 3, 2, 1, and everyone stands still when we say disc in.
Yeah.
And people start playing. You just say like you just start moving, or do you give a recount?
Love that question. The moment it's your turn and the offense starts walking up to this line, the defense starts walking, I say, you can move if you want. And then at a certain point I say, so, yeah. Just start, if anything, don't just stand and get your defender locked in. Just, step forward, maybe a step back. See what they're doing. Because if you can even move a little, you see your defender go like this. Woo, I love that, right? This, how are they going to chase you like this, right? They just have to get back into that position. So movement can even relate to the weight.
Just another idea is like everyone likes to start with the disc with their hands, but often offense starts the disc on the ground. And so making people keep the disc on the ground and like the offense or defense can be live, like, and you probably have to put a cone because people can't help themselves, but they have to actually like stay at the cone. And then once it's time to go, while I'm walking to the disc, everyone else can start doing the thing. Also like practicing the small thing of like looking while you're picking up the disc. So you can see what's happening. So that's the other thing that people do is they look down. Then people are moving, and you don't know where people are at. So like small little details to like add it in to kind of change it to once again make it more. How do we make it game like once people understand the game?
Absolutely. So Alyssa was just saying, you have the line because they want to touch that thing. You have the line way back there. You let these folks go too. You guys can go. No, you guys can go. All right, now you can go. So they're walking out to pick up the disc. They are positioning, playing, experimenting. So we did movement, we did weights. Okay, and the last thing is it's a tricky one to offer because I think that it's the most variable of all the strategies or tools. I wrote down the word jab step, and what a jab step is like a feint or a quick movement, which is going to be followed with your actual movement, right? So if I jab step, I jab here, but I'm really going there. If I jab step here. So it's meant to just set up optically a direction, but inside the whole body, you're actually going to be going the other way. So feint, the jab step, I don't see a lot of coaches teaching that because when you teach that too much, then do you see that handler's doing this? I'm open, and they're just jab stepping. You're not open. Like they get used to that, right? So a lot of coaches don't teach that. We teach it. Take those 3 hard steps. Go, 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 go. Then turn. Then go, go, go. Right. So, and I teach. My players get one hard. There is a cutter, And if you can find some video of him, that's my teacher. His name is Moses Rifkin. He is a coach at UPrep. He is a player. And Moses exemplifies all three of these tools to get himself open. I think he is a very athletic player. But when you see him on the field, he's added another arsenal to increase and create that separation. So you'll see him, and I've tried as a defender to just like almost put my arm around him and say, you stay right here when the disc gets tapped in. And you know, he swims out, he's moving, he's getting out of there, he's making me, right? So there's the movement. He has an uncanny sense of where my weight is and how he made me shift my weight. And he does this with a feint step, right? So the jab step. Yeah, let's throw it out there today as something to experiment with, but I would not say that this is how people should cut. You shouldn't cut by just doing that. You should really cut by exploding in a linear way into a space. This can help to increase that separation. So where the jab step can be practiced, it can be practiced in here. You know, you can do a jab step right toward the defender and go, right? In corners, this is a good one for the jab because it's such a small space that players just naturally will try and change the direction, not knowing that that technique of going in one direction and changing it quickly can be useful in opening yourself up. So when Peter was on me, I went this way, and I looked at Alyssa, right? And Peter said, and I, there. So in corners, you can practice some of those jab movements, motions, right? So this one is, I think, harder to teach. You have to find little games that practice it because the weight transfer, pushing off, all the mechanics involved with the ankle, the knee, it's so variable based on, I think, that player that unless you just play games where they just have to change directions, you may not feel what a good jab step's like. You can tell I'm getting super into this, but let's make sure, is this helpful in any way? Is this helpful in any way? I love questions, I love situations. What if? Or, yeah, but I've seen this before. Let's talk about, it makes sense here with this drill, but what happens when a player steps on a real field? Can they really feel successful? Yeah. Yes?
Before we shift to that, I think it's really cool to also referencing back to Alyssa's talk too, we can reverse engineer the film. If you're I want to find people who do jab step movement, weight, and everything, especially if you're coaching a GX team or a mixed team, don't just, a lot of film analysis is mostly cis male white players. And so finding more diverse clips to share with your kids so they can find people to look up to and emulate as well, I think would be huge.
Love that. I think to find the examples, although you're right, Moses is, but find the examples. Does Surge have a killer jab step?
Yeah.
And she also has multiple moves, right? She does that,
Yeah.
but she also does chop, she
Yeah,
chops,
chop.
she does all these things.
Yeah.
Also someone who's torn her ACL also and has come back and also has impacted how she moves. And I think especially when you're thinking about people who have generally wider hips,
Yeah,
right? The way that you're then training how to move is different.
absolutely.
And it's really important, when you're doing something like a jab step, it can be super effective as well as everything else. And that's why I'm always thinking, what are we doing from our feet up?
Yes.
And thinking about the bodies of the people that we're working with. And also finding people that do have similar bodies too, or have similar positions.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like that's something I also try to really have with young players when they're trying to learn offensive moves, because there are like endless offensive moves that are successful for different people.
That's right.
But like, I'm not gonna watch. I'm never gonna run like Moses. He's like six. If you don't know who he is, he's like 6'4", or I don't know, at least much taller than me.
Yes.
But instead, I'm gonna like, I'm gonna find someone who's maybe a little bit more in like the realm that I can be in to think about, but also like Jimmy and I were talking about like mastery mindset, where I'm not just trying to be as good as the person who maybe I'm looking at, but I'm actually just continuing to get better myself. Like, how can I get 1% better every time? Not just can I get as good as this other person.
Right on. Exactly right. Yeah. And just to preface, we do a lot of muscular and strength development with this group of middle school girls, how to land, where to have your knees, because like you said, based on your build, you can get hurt. You can't even do the move in the way that you're hoping to. So teaching the body awareness and development for sure. And you can even, I was thinking, because I thought a lot about teaching this, because I love it in situations. You can maybe just have a chair here and a chair here, and you just start running this way, but they have to be ready, because when they hear a whistle, they have to go to this chair, and you could do the 1, 2, 3, stop, plant, or you can just say, hey, we do want to make sure, knees are not over pronated or, going one way or the other too hard, but see what it feels like to be able to turn and change directions super quick. You can set up a little, drill or game or spatial, conditioning. It's just to give them a tool. Do they want that tool? Maybe not. Do they want this tool? Maybe. But experiment. Let them see that there's no one way to get open. There's many ways, like Liz was saying. Experiment, freedom within a structure. I think that was what I had today. Appreciate you really thinking at this hour about what this means for your players, what it could look like, how it could help them. There is no ceiling. We always want to let them continue to explore, experiment, and feel successful. So today was
Do you want to see there's no more questions?
Yes, yeah. Any questions for either
Or
of us?
either of us, or any other things that people have thoughts on?
So I think you actually said this earlier, that this drill isn't really like super game accurate. I oftentimes get questions from particularly my 8th graders saying like, why are we doing this? Like, how do I use this in the game? Why? They'll give me like a million reasons not to do it. What do you think is like even just like a simple, ready reason to say this is why we should do it, or here's where you should use it? Like give them ways to relate it to the scrimmage that they'll then go and do.
It's a great question. It's a great question. To be honest, I would say, they said, why are we doing this? I'll say, well, I really just took away part of the field and a couple of your teammates, But you're standing in the stack right now. This is about to be tapped in. So, we want you to get open. We want you to get the disc. So, helping them see how it could translate to a game, right? You just build the field and say, look, yes, you're in the vertical stack. You want everyone else to stand around too, and then you can see it? Let's do it, right? To be really honest, when you're talking about lanes for people to work in, that's about what you got. You have this lane, you have the mark, you have the throw. This is game. You got 5 seconds, right? So this is game ready for you. And on the document itself, it says that you are allowed. This person is allowed to leave the box here, and they will get a reward. They will get the throw if you're 4 or 5 steps, right? So a lot of throwers, they don't love the close, but if I'm here and Kevin's there, I think I worked hard enough to get that, right? Put it up, try. So, you know, we want a thrower to try to take it. So we want a cutter to make that look, especially if this person says, I challenge you to beat me in this box. Okay, boom. I beat you by 8 steps, right? So the moves, the spatial awareness, the consideration of what's open, those are all things they're going to do on a team. But this is just allowing you to just have that isolated one. Yeah, it's a good question. It is. Why are we doing this? Yeah, got that one today. Yeah. Just try and paint that picture.
I was wondering if either of you want to answer this, contradicting this idea that you have to only go one direction. Like, how do you get players to think about or backwards? Like in this one, I noticed you didn't indicate that there's a goal anywhere. So this could be a practice that we're going backwards or forwards.
Yes. Do we have time?
Yeah, we have 4 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Someone put the timer on. Do you mind if I take a step?
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm going to erase the drill, because it's not the drill that I think will help with that orientation. I think it is absolutely essential for players to break out of the mold of, you go this way, right? And one way that we can do that is to play a game that everyone kind of grew up playing. Keep away. 1, 2, 3. Against 1, 2, 3. Where's the goal? That's what they ask. Where's the goal? There are no goals. Okay, well, how do you score? You don't, right? Fine, what's the whole point of this? Keep control of the disc. That's translatable to Ultimate, right? Keep control of the disc, right? In a space. So there is no direction. There is no goal that gets them really locked into that orientation. And you're going to find your throwers looking in all directions. Although there are some boundaries that help dictate, can I just go anywhere? No, within a constraint, right? And one thing for all those super goal-oriented, outcome-oriented, competitive, you could say, keep track of how many you can get. Right? Can you string 10 in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Can you get 20 in a row? That sometimes people just need that, but otherwise, keep possession, right? That's a fantastic question. I almost put this one on the dock, but there's a lot sometimes. I don't want to bog it. Keep away.
And just for an example, if you want to show people, I think there's a couple players on Molly Brown who emulate that very well. The Cardenas sisters, Valeria and Kalakala. They can, if your players are like, well, what's the point? They're like in a game where aiming for a goal. They'll show how that's the point. So like get that until they can get an opening toward the end zone.
Yeah, backward, this way. Because that was given. It was open, and then they were able to finish the job.
You can modify it by after 10 throws in a row, you open up an end zone, and you say, okay, you score there. After you have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Then there is the translatable. We are ultimately heading in this direction. Yeah. Great one. I wanted to do small ball today too, but then you guys here's an 8. But shh. Yeah. That's the throw that everyone on your team can do. 5 yards. Okay. So you'll eventually lose the defense if you move it around. And then you can go where you want to go. But yeah, that's another sack, small ball. But keep away is a good one for that. Yeah. All right. Well, friends, a huge thank you to you guys because you're going to go back to your teams.
Thanks so much for coming. Please don't leave garbage. And then, people want to come. I'll send another reminder. But in 2 weeks, Ben Wiggins and Glenn Ambler are going to talk about some more defensive things. And I think they'll probably come at it at more I think there are going to be pieces that are going to work for all levels, even within that. Yeah.